Ambarino's frozen mountains are filled with abandoned bodies, unexplained deaths, and disturbing discoveries. Let's explore what happened to them, and what can still be found at each location. The first location is at Deadboot Creek, where we find a dead man lying beside his horse. The game never explains exactly what happened to them, but it appears they became stranded and died in the freezing conditions. Nearby, there is also a loot box containing the Hawk Talon trinket. The next discovery is the remains of a mammoth, partially buried in the snow near Deadboot Creek. There is nothing to collect here, but John can inspect the enormous skeleton and sketch it in his journal. The game never explains how it died, leaving it as one of Ambarino's oldest and most unusual discoveries. The third location is near Spider Gorge, where we find an entire herd of cattle frozen together in the snow. There is nothing to collect or inspect here, and the game never explains exactly what happened. The most likely explanation is that the herd became trapped during extreme weather and froze before they could escape. The next location contains a frozen couple sitting together beside their camp. Their horse has been gutted nearby, suggesting they may have used it for food after becoming stranded in the mountains. One of the bodies is holding the Panoramic map, a mysterious drawing believed to point toward a view from Mount Shan. There is nothing else to collect here, and the game never reveals exactly who they were or what happened to them. The next location begins at Dormin Crest, where we first find a collectible cigarette card inside the cabin. Using Eagle Eye, we can then follow a trail leading uphill through the snow. At the end of the trail, we find the cabin's owner frozen to death, still sitting upright and holding a carbine repeater. The game never explains why he left the cabin or what happened to him, but the rifle can be taken from his body. The next body contains a major story spoiler. If you have not completed the game, skip to the next chapter now. After finishing the epilogue, we can return to Mount Hagen and find Micah's frozen body still lying where he was killed. The only important item here is Micah's revolver, which can be collected from his body. On Mount Hagen, we can also find one of the game's rock carvings. Just below it sits the frozen settler, an ancient-looking corpse wearing a metal Morion helmet. John can inspect the body and sketch it in his journal, while the helmet can be collected and worn. The game never explains who this man was or how he ended up frozen on the mountain. The next location is Clawson's Rest, where we find two young boys dead inside a locked cabin. A letter from their mother explains that she left to recover money stolen by some men. She told the boys to keep the door locked and promised to return the following night, but she never came back. The boys appear to have died while waiting for her. Inside the cabin, we can also collect 3 cigarette cards, along with a few other minor supplies. The next location is Dodd's Bluff, just south of Window Rock. Inside the cabin, we find 2 dead men lying beside each other. A gold nugget on the nearby table suggests they may have fought and killed each other over it, although the game never confirms exactly what happened. Outside the cabin, we can also collect the hunter hatchet from a tree stump. The next body is found near Donner Falls, where we discover a woman beside the remains of a broken barrel. She was attempting to travel over the waterfall inside the barrel, but the stunt ended in her death. John can inspect the scene and sketch it in his journal, but there is nothing important to collect from the body. The next location is Fairvale Shanty, near the northern edge of Ambarino. Here, we find 2 dead men, one inside the cabin and another lying outside. Both men have cattleman revolvers nearby, suggesting they may have killed each other, although the game never confirms what happened. We can also find a collectible cigarette card outside the cabin, along with a loot box containing a platinum band, a gold nugget, and a platinum pocket watch. The next location is the Face and Cliff, where we find a huge, unfinished carving built into the mountain. Hanging from the nearby scaffolding is the artist responsible for it. His suicide note reveals that he created the carving for the woman he loved, but she left him for another artist. John can inspect the scene and sketch it in his journal. We can also find the special health cure pamphlet and a few valuables inside the nearby lockbox. The next location is the flattened cabin near Moonstone Pond. The front door cannot be opened, so the only way inside is to climb up the fallen tree and enter through the roof. Inside, we can collect the Homing Tomahawk pamphlet, along with a large jewelry bag hidden inside the nightstand. A crushed body is also supposed to appear behind the fallen tree, but it sometimes fails to spawn because of a known glitch. The next body contains another major story spoiler, so skip to the next chapter if you have not completed the game. Near Micah's body on Mount Hagen, we find a small locked cabin that cannot normally be entered. From behind, we can shoot some of the wooden planks to create a clearer opening and look inside. There appears to be an unidentified man sitting inside, holding something in his hands. The game never explains who he was or why his body was left here. The final body is found at Martha's Swain, southeast of O'Crega's Run. Inside the cabin, we find Martha's skeleton, along with a letter from Garfield, a Confederate soldier who never returned to her. We can also collect a pocket mirror inside the cabin, while a rusted hunter hatchet can be found in a nearby tree stump. And those were the disturbing bodies and remains hidden across Ambarino. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, because we'll be exploring another region next.